All right, fantastic. It's good to see everybody. I have been doing SEO since 2004, and I've run First Page Sage since 2009. So we're on our 16th year. So um, I think a lot about this subject, I think it's fair to say. So let's talk about how SEO has changed and really what works today as well, regardless of what has changed. So the first question is like, how relevant is Google still? And, is ChatGPT taking over? This is the statistics from SimilarWeb. Bottom line is that Google gets about 22 times the amount of traffic of ChatGPT. And the way people use ChatGPT is a bit different. As I phrased it here, I think it's fairly succinct. When people are doing something like light research, or they need help with repetitive tasks, including writing basic copy, that's what ChatGPT is for. Google's audience is closer to a buying audience. And when the stakes are high, you still go to Google. There are some exceptions to that. There's a small base of people that are trying out ChatGPT for making decisions that cost a lot of money or time, but not many. And it would just be part of the buying journey. So while that absolutely may change in several years, it's important to note that Google is as relevant and important as ever, not just because of the size difference in the audience, but because of the intent difference. So I think it's important to understand where SEO has been because I see the changes since December 2022 with ChatGPT's introduction as just yet another phase. I don't think that it is, some tremendous revolution or anything like that as far as marketing goes. It could be for healthcare or sequencing DNA or something like that. But for marketing, it is a really phenomenal new innovation, but not more than that. So SEO back when I started was just about stuffing keywords into pages and buying links. And that really worked. And Google's algorithm still uses backlinks as an important factor, but far less than they did about around 8 years ago. Links started to be demoted quite a bit. And I'd say every year they're demoted in the algorithm. Links were the original, they were the original different thing that a search engine did. They really differentiated Google from the other search engines at the time because they were taken from the academic realm. In the academic or medical world, when your paper is cited, it's a mark of credibility that your peers believe it's worth talking about. And the founders of Google, being academics at Stanford, did the same thing, except with citations on the web or backlinks. So that's still relevant today. And as you can see, each of these phases build on themselves, but it's a lot less relevant than it used to be. It's around 2007 that is the reason why almost every website on the internet has a blog, because Google said, if you educate your audience, we will deliver people to your website and you'll get business. And that promise, that handshake, is a very important thing because you'll see that ChatGPT is actually kind of messing with that promise by taking all the content. They're kind of stealing people's content. That the free open internet is actually something that was created by Google so that people could get traffic for supplying their search engine with valuable results that helps make them a lot of money and helped make them into a household name. So if you kind of break that, if Google was no longer relevant, then people would not create free content anymore, ostensibly. And who knows what ChatGPT would do to get up-to-date information. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic there. But content marketing, just 500 words with a stock image, used to work so well up until 2012, 2013. I have it marked as 2014 here. And after that, something else started to matter a lot. And I remember when this changed, and I was like, wow, this is amazing. It was the era of the pillar or the hub and spoke system, when clusters of content all about the same topic is what allowed your website to get an advantage in ranking. And to this day, that still matters a lot. You could have a very high degree of trust on your website and therefore the ability to rank highly. But if you don't say that you're a niche expert in certain areas, and you can have a few areas that you have clusters of content around, you're not going to outrank competitors that are simply larger sites with a higher trust profile, more links or higher quality links. Today, Google has really fulfilled its mission that I would say it's always been gunning for, but it didn't have good enough fraud detection technology to get to, which is when you create the best response to the psychological intent behind a query, what someone really wanted to see, you will be rewarded with a #1 ranking. And if you think about it, it totally makes sense. Google wins when people get the thing that they most wanted. So when you create a piece of content that directly, like bullseye, answers the question inherent in their search or fulfills their curiosity, even if it's a transactional search, they're looking to buy something, you at least have to fulfill what they were looking for. Um, and not just that, I would say there's like a brownie points aspect. You also think about the questions that might come next if you peel back the next layer of what they meant. Answer the questions they didn't know they had, but they really wanted answered when they typed in the query. That's how you get #1. And we'll go into that a little bit more in a bit. So if I were to summarize, which I have to because of the short amount of time, our playbook at my agency, it's essentially flood the search results with pages that are the best possible response to the keywords that are on your master keyword list. And your master keyword list should be a rank ordered list of the most valuable keywords that you have. The word valuable here typically means ability to drive leads, but it can also mean ability to drive backlinks and publicity or brand exposure. So I'll get to that shortly, but you certainly, for us, and it's very easy for me to talk about this because we do our own SEO for ourselves. Something like SEO agency, a transactional keyword, of course, that's valuable. But if you look at our keyword list, let me see if I have that next. Yeah, there it is. The #2 most valuable keyword of any keyword out there for us, in our opinion, doing this for years, is this random one, Google CTR by position. And that's because no one before us had ever published a list of the percentages of click-through rate for every Google search result, including the ads. And doing that earns us links to the tune of 3 or 4 per day, and it's the reason we outrank every other SEO agency in the US for the biggest keywords out there. It's because we're getting links while we sleep from that randomly popular search or randomly link-worthy search. So that's a different definition of value. So essentially, we're flooding the search results with things like SEO agency, SaaS or B2B SaaS SEO agency, every type of SEO agency. And then, local, we don't do that much anymore because since COVID, not as many people are looking for a Denver SEO agency or something like that. And then B2B or any other way people express the type of customer they are, that's very important. We do the research keywords because they create clusters of content that give us that niche expertise that I mentioned as a phase of Google's history. And it also attracts links. Together, when you're kind of firing on all cylinders here, these being the cylinders, you will find yourself getting a tremendous number of leads from SEO as we do today. So when you have your keyword list and you know your, let's say, 100 most valuable keywords, you then need to translate that into the most satisfying content on the internet. And by the way, Google measures that by time on site. They're going to not just look at who has the highest time on site, but the time on site that is closest to the benchmark based on what they typed in and the intent behind it. If somebody just wants to know something very simple that it should take 5 seconds to get, Google doesn't want people to spend a minute on the site. They want 5 seconds. But if it's a strategy related keyword, then it might be 2.5 minutes or something like that. But by and large, you want people to stay on your website. So when someone types in ChatGPT market share, a keyword that we've targeted not because it's particularly relevant to people buying SEO services, but because it attracts a lot of links. How did we satisfy them? We satisfied them by creating a simple table that contains all of the chatbots out there, including lesser known ones, because those can be interesting too, and journalists like to write about them. And then showing month over month or quarter over quarter their growth, because that is a succinct, not wasting a second of anyone's time way of answering that question. And there's a lot more in the article too, but most of it is tables, and we break down the growth of each generative AI chatbot. No one else had done that, and that's why we're #1 if you type in ChatGPT market share, which is a goldmine of links for us. So this is essentially what it looks like to flood the search results. And you'll see in a bit, this is good not just for SEO, but for generative AI optimization or generative engine optimization, GEO as it's called today. So if you type in, any of these types of keywords, and I'll just go to the internet to show you this, like we target a lot of keywords plus SEO agencies. So cybersecurity SEO agencies, is that necessarily our target? No, but we do that. I think we do one with healthcare as well. And you see that it's sort of just random, the different ones. I mean, we'll do like engineering, and then we'll do some random ones, maritime, because why not? We might get 2 leads a year or maybe one customer a year for maritime, and it works well for us. We do this with maybe 80 different industries. And so that's one aspect of what we do. Another aspect is we will target like B2B. B2B SEO companies is an important keyword for us. It's one of our best keywords. So that's one aspect. We target demand generation agencies and types, basically the different ways that people phrase agencies. And then we do the top SEO blank, top SEO experts, um, top SEO speakers. So this is basically what it looks like to flood the search results. And there's the research ones I showed you before, like ChatGPT market share, that we also do, or SEO ROI statistics, etc. What is our strategy in terms of content? There's 2 types of content we're publishing, and this just works phenomenally well. The first is the comparison blog, inspired by Consumer Reports. It is a simple table that targets transactional searches. So somebody types in demand generation agencies. You saw that we ranked #1 for that, and lots of all the ones that I showed you that are SEO agencies are comparison blogs. It's not the same as a listicle. People call it that a lot, but a listicle is just a really long list that is kind of spammy. A comparison blog is a genuinely valuable algorithm-based comparison of agencies. In this case, a very biased one because we always put ourselves #1. And a lot of people ask, do people really, believe it if you're on your own website and you rank yourselves #1? We get tons of leads from this. We might get 8 or 10 leads in a single day from the aggregate of our comparison blogs alone. And I mean qualified leads. So people are so hungry for any new and accurate way of characterizing SEO agencies or anything in technology services that when they see something original, there's real creativity in here, they react well to it. And so essentially, something like is the company founder led, that took someone's effort. That's the creativity behind it. The other piece is metrics pieces. So when we do comparison blogs, and that's for transactional searches, the metrics pieces are to build links, and it's what I told you before. So GEO, how does that work? Well, the funny thing about GEO, ranking at the top of ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Claude, let's say, is that being listed in one of these comparison blogs, even if it's published on your own website, is the biggest factor in the algorithm of these generative AI chatbots. So what works for Google, in this case, in ChatGPT, you have to rank highly on Bing since Microsoft invested in ChatGPT. This is what the algorithm looks like, essentially. If you're listed, preferably in multiple authoritative lists that rank on the first page of Google, or in the case of ChatGPT, Bing, then you're likely to be cited. They will even copy verbatim the list, one of our lists that we create. It's the same thing with if you have awards and the award website and your website both mention the award, they look for that. Essentially, generative AI is trying to mimic what a human being would look for when choosing a company, which is authority. So if you want a Webby Award or an Emmy Award or whatever it is, depending on the product or service, it needs to see that. So it really is a matter of online reputation, PR, and SEO that makes up generative engine optimization. And again, this will be an available presentation, so you can take a look at this. There's also an article about this on our website. This is a former client of us, and this is what it looks like if somebody types in PCB automation tools, #1 in Google Organic, #1 in AI Overview, #1 in ChatGPT. That's what it looks like when you do everything correctly from the standpoint of both SEO and GEO. And just in our last 2 minutes here, what does it really mean? I think I expressed this properly. SEO is, well, I won't say not dead. Hold on, my wife wants to pass. You can go. Oh. Sorry, we're in the later part of our evening here on the East Coast. So what it means is the type of SEO where you produce content around general research phrases, that is dead. There's no reason for an SEO company to give definitions or comparisons anymore. It's all about quasi-transactional or transactional phrases. Those still are what people go to Google for. We haven't reached artificial general intelligence. I don't know when that will ever happen. Will it be something more like an augmented intelligence? I'm not sure, but yeah, in 10 years, SEO could be dead. I don't know, but for now, it's far from dead. And it really struggles with things that a human intuition is needed for. And so there's no reason to discount that. Like, we still need experts to write articles, because what happens with generative AI produced content, it doesn't work because it's very good. It might be 7 out of 10 content if a human looks it over, but it's just a race to the middle, and it's a very big middle filled with lots of 7 out of 10 quality content. The 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 content, that's what slots 1, 2, and 3 are reserved for. Those are written by experts that are taking the time to put nuance, true expertise, a thought about the experience of the user interface, paragraphs versus tables and visuals. That's what, and I showed you examples of that on our own website. That's what number 1 is reserved for. And frankly, people aren't even looking at number 8. So certainly not the second page. So I mentioned that. I think we covered that. What to look for in the future, just as the last thing. I think that there'll be an increase in the amount of trust people feel for generative AI. So I think learning more about GEO and doing that combination of reputation management and PR and SEO is a good idea. Get your customer reviews in order. Do some PR if you can do that, and certainly do plenty of humble bragging on the website, because it all makes a difference. So I think that's a good idea. Agentic search is kind of a new thing people talk a lot about, and I think that's just going to benefit the people who've done the work that I just described, who rank number 1, because if they have essentially a robot do a search for them, they say, find me a company to do XYZ, or SaaS platform that helps with field management or something like that, then that bot is probably going to just search generative AI or search Google, and it's going to come up with the number 1 result, or whoever's in multiple comparison blogs of these lists. And so you're going to benefit from the same thing that I was talking about SEO and GEO wise anyway, publishing that great content. And I do think there's going to be a push to more and more appreciation of human generated content, because frankly, the tone of generative AI is generic and overly balanced. And we want people to take a strong point of view and make a real argument based on these human experiences, where we are humans that want to hear from other humans as well, even if we really appreciate what a bot can do. That's what I got for you.